A long time ago in India, there was a dacoit named Ratnakar who robbed lonely travelers. One day he captured a sadhu and demanded all his valuables. The sage had nothing to offer, but he pleaded with Ratnakar to get rid of his ills. The sage asked whether Ratnakar's family would ever share in his sins, for whom he was earning this bad money. Ratnakar rushed home and asked this question to his wife and parents, but nobody was ready to take part in his evil. Hurt, he fell at the sadhu's feet, crying in repentance. The sadhu urged him to attain moksha by meditating on the word Ram. Ratnakar, unable to pronounce the holy name, began repeating Mara, which means dead. Several years later, the sage came back to the same spot. He could hear the word Ram, Ram, Ram coming from an ant hill that had consumed Ratnakar. The sadhu, who was actually Narad Muni, released Ratnakar and renamed him Valmiki, meaning the anthill. Narad blessed Valmiki to write the story of Prince Ram, who would be an incarnation of Vishnu on earth. Several years later, one day, when Valmiki was in meditation, a bird hunter shoots down and kills one bird from a pair flying high. As the dead bird fell into Valmiki's lap, moved by pain and anger, he curses the bird hunter and thus composes the first verse in Sanskrit. This verse began with the divine words Ma Nishad. Thereafter, with the blessings of Goddess Saraswati, he composes the epic tale of Ramayana. Once there was a sage known as Andhak Muni who lived in the forest and had a son called Shravan Kumar. Shravan Kumar was greatly devoted to his blind old parents and took care of all their needs, even carried them wherever needed. The valiant King Dashrath was born in the line of Suryavanshi kings and Ikshvaku dynasty. He ruled over Ayodhya and conquered over many a kingdom. The king had 3 queens but no children, and this was a cause of great misery to him. Once, King Dashrath was hunting in the jungle, and after a long search, he heard a deer drinking water. He shot the Shabdabhedi Van, the arrow that follows the sound, and heard a human cry out. The water drinking sound had actually been Shravan Kumar filling a pitcher of water for his parents, and the arrow had shot him dead. King Dashrath was devastated, realizing his mistake. Dying Shravan Kumar pleaded to the king to take his body back to his parents. As the king did so, he narrated the incident to the blind Muni and his wife, begging for their forgiveness. But the sage, unable to bear the loss of his only son, cursed the king, saying, "You will have the same fate as me and will die of sorrow over the loss of your beloved son." Taking the curse as a boon for childbirth, the hopeful king called upon the accomplished Rishi Singha Muni and arranged for the Putra Kameshthi Yajna to beget children. At the conclusion of the yajna ceremony, the fire god offers a bowl of kheer as prasad and asks it to be given to the queen. At the same time, in Vaikuntha, at the behest of Brahma and all other devs, Narayan agrees to incarnate on earth and blesses the prasad from the yajna. Kaushalya was Dasharath's chief queen, but he loved Kaikeyi the most. So Dasharath divides the prasad into two halves and gives to both of his queens. Sumitra, deprived of the prasad, requests Kaushalya and Kaikeyi to share their part, and both of them happily share. Thus, Narayan is born in all four sons of King Dasharath. Kaushalya's son is the eldest and named Ram. Kaikeyi's Bharat and Sumitra's twins, Lakshman and Shatrughan. As the years pass by, the four brothers study and train in arms with sage Vashishta. During this time, in Mithila, the Rakshasas were becoming a menace for the sages. They would terrorize the sages and sabotage every yajna ceremony. So, one day, Muni Vishwamitra visits King Dasharath, asking for Ram and Lakshman to be sent with him to protect these sages and destroy the Rakshasas. Ram was dearest to Dasharath, and he did not want to part with him. But fearing Muni Vishwamitra's rage, the king finally agrees and sends Ram and Lakshman to Mithila. On the way to Mithila, they are attacked by a frightening demon, Tadaka. But young Ram defeats and kills her. Seeing Ram's valor, Muni Vishwamitra takes them to a huge stone and asks Ram to touch it with his foot. On asking the reason, Vishwamitra narrates the story of Ahilya. Ahilya was a very beautiful maiden married to sage Gautam. Once, when Gautam was out, Indra, who secretly admired Ahilya, takes the form of Gautam and comes to the hermitage. Ahilya, not recognizing the impostor, treats him likewise. When Gautam returns and catches the impostor, he curses Ahilya to transform into a stone. When Ahilya begs for forgiveness, Gautam decrees that only Vishnu's touch can free her. Thus, when Ram steps on the stone, it transforms into Ahilya and she is finally freed of her curse. Thereafter, Ram and Lakshman help Vishwamitra and other sages to successfully complete their yajna, fiercely fighting and defeating the Rakshasa horde of Marich and Subahu, who were sons of Tadaka. Subahu is killed in the battle, but a wounded Marich flees to Lanka and becomes a hermit and devotee of Ram. The king of Mithila was Rishi Janak, ever devoted to studies and spirituality. Once, while plowing a field to level it for a yajna, he finds a beautiful baby girl in the soil. Charmed by her beauty, Janak adopts the baby and names her Sita. Later, he receives the mighty bow of Mahadev called Pinaka from sage Bhriguram, decreeing that whoever strings the bow shall marry the princess Sita. After Ram and Lakshman have rescued the sages, Vishwamitra takes them to Sita's Swayambar, where many virtuous kings, including Ravan, have failed to even move the Pinaka. But Ram, with his great strength, not only picks up the bow, but in an effort to string it, pulls so hard that the bow breaks into two. The sound of this bow breaking was heard all over the world. Thus, Sita marries Ram, her sister Urmila marries Lakshman. Janak's brother Kushadhwaj had two daughters, Mandavi and Shrutakirti, who were married to Bharat and Shatrughan. Maharshi Parshuram was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and he was enraged at the news of Ram's breaking the Pinaka. He encounters Ram on the way back to Ayodhya and challenges him to prove his strength by pulling out an axe that Parshuram had struck on the ground. As Ram accomplishes this easily, Parshuram realizes his true form as Narayan. This video is inspired and adapted from Ramayana in pictures, authored and illustrated by Champak Bhattacharya.